So what you saying? You're not a fan of Luton no more?
Nah, but you know, I've got a lot of trauma, a lot of history, so yeah, I'm not a fan, man. I live in peace now, so like when I go back there, I sense it. So,
Aggro.
Yeah. I think if you've been eating bacon a lot of the time and then you had steak, it's hard to go back to bacon, you know? But I'm glad my roots are there because it's made me who I am today, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not knocking it to be totally dismissive of it, but I do get excited going down the M1 when I see it, the signs.
I feel like it's one of them things. It's when you're out of there, you're like, that place is a shithole. And when you get back there, you're like, you have that feeling of, oh, it's home.
Yeah,
like it's got that homely sort of, you know, when you come from the airport and you land back in Luton, it's like, oh, we're home.
When I was up here, people said to me, "Where are you from?" I go, "Luton." They go, "The airport," and I'm like, "No, I don't live in the airport." You know? I don't live in the airport. That's true.
God,
Dave Willmot, man, I've been looking forward to this one for ages since Roberto come on and said like, oh, this would be a good guest for you to get on. I'm like, done the homework, done the research, and you've had a story, man, from start to finish. And obviously you're still going. You're obviously coaching now at Combat Warriors.
Yeah.
You've talked the talk in K1 Muay Thai. Like you've been there, seen it, done it. You've trained with the killers from Storm. Like,
yeah.
How did the journey start for Dave Willmot?
Well, into fighting.
Just in general. We'll go back from sort of the beginning.
You born and bred Luton?
Born and bred Luton, yeah, Lutonian, yeah. I think for me it was like I never really fitted in at school. I found school very boring. Like, you know, they was teaching us things like algebra, X equals A equals what, and I was like, I don't care. I just don't. Why you? What the hell? But then it was like, so being bored at school, I was quite out there with people. I was a social chameleon. I could socialise with a lot of different people. Sort of thing. But it was all when I started high school, really, because I had an older brother, I had a lot of people, a lot of friends there, a lot of different schools come into my first year of high school. And I remember the very first day of Icknield High School, I walked onto the playground and it was a Mexico World Cup. And one of them little Coca-Cola balls, you remember them? Rob, do you remember them? The little Coca-Cola balls.
Yeah.
One of them come my way and I punted it because it was just a football. I want to play football and it booted it. And I ain't going to say names because, I'm not going to say names. But anyway, yeah, all of a sudden this guy come running up to me and headbutted me, broke my nose straight away. My first day of high school, got my nose broke. And I was like, wow, man. So then my brothers come over with three of his friends. They're all laughing and bantering about him and they started giving me a few little playful digs. You know, it was playful digs because obviously it's my brother and his friends. But for me, it was like, I couldn't fight at the time. You know, I was young. I didn't start puberty until last week. So that was a bit difficult. But so for me, I learned to be lippy.
Yeah. My
way of defending myself was telling you hit like a girl, or you ain't strong enough, you're not fast enough, or you're too fat, you're too ginger, you're too whatever visually I could see on you that I could attack you with, come out verbally. So from that kind of day, it was like, you know, I didn't get educated at school. It was survival mode a lot, and there was a lot of Asians in the community in Luton at the time, and a lot of my friends lived in Runfold. You lot probably were Runfold. And I lived at the Biscot Mill area, so you see the dynamics. So anytime, like I said, I'm a social chameleon, so I can get with most people. I wasn't really into one group of people. It was a lot of people, a lot of friends. But my friends at school got into a lot of conflict with them, and they see me walking home their way. My lot went up that way. So who they're going to take out? And it was me that kind of got the brunt of a lot of nonsense at school. So yeah, bullied at school, and then I remember having paper rounds at school and getting Van Damme videos. I was a massive Van Damme film, and I got bullied at school for being a Van Damme fan because I joined the Van Damme fan club. Yes, I said it. I did it. I'm not ashamed of it. All right. And I used to just watch his movies, man, like religiously before school. I used to remember watching the kickboxer one where Tom Poe and Van Damme, and I think, right, when I get to school, if them bullies start on me, I'm going to jump spin this, do that. And then when I turn up to school, I got battered.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back home and start watching it again. And it was just, I'm making it funny now, but back then it was difficult. Trauma. Yeah, a lot. Yeah. And back then as well, like, you know, I'm not knocking any community or any race or religion by any stretch of the imagination. But back then, we used to go into town on a Saturday and there'd be a lot of muggings, a lot of hassle, the Luton Carnival, you know, a lot of names were getting dropped, a lot of names getting mentioned, you know, all that kind of stuff. So we got involved in that. And then later on, when I joined East West, I started to learn about combat, started to learn, a little bit more about who's who and what's what. And yeah, I just feel like.
What age was this around?
Oh, so this was when I was 11. So from 11 till about 15, every weekend we'd go, me and my brother and a few friends would go into the mall, or we'd go out on our bikes to Wooddown Park. There'd be groups of certain individuals, and we'd get our bikes mugged off us. We'd be held at knife point. We'd get battered for our bikes and whatnot.
Luton went through a bad patch like that, though. Obviously, it was way before. Obviously, I'm only 24 and he's 26, 27.
Yeah.
So we like Luton went through, like when our cousin talks to us about it when he was growing up, he was like, Luton was bad, like especially from like this postcode area thing was going on from way back, and it was bad back then. Obviously, no cameras, no nothing.
Yeah, it wasn't like 100%. Like people get that's right. There was no cameras back then. It wasn't that bad. You just, we used to go and get beaten up every week, and for me, that was the norm. Like when I tell a story now, or talk to friends and tell them now, they're like, wow, that's mad. I'm like, mate, for me that was normal. I normalized that. That was what life felt like to me, and that was what normal was. So like, conflict was everywhere, and I'm not tough because I wanted to be. I'm not tough because I want to give an idea to people that I'm somebody special. I'm tough because I had to be. And then when I started getting a bit older, I had to learn how to fight because I was sick of getting my ass kicked.
Yeah. But you hear a lot of mixed martial artists, like a lot of them went through that sort of thing to get into martial arts. Yeah. Like the GSP story. Like he see the guy that used to bully him when he was like a world champion. And the guy thought he was going to beat him up and he didn't. And he actually like helped him out, I think, didn't he? I think the guy was homeless. So what was, obviously you started at East West. Whereabouts was this in Luton, and what was that sort of transition like for you?
So East West was... So I remember watching Van Damme videos and having a conversation with my parents. Listen, I want to be able to do this, and it was karate at first. I think every kid on the planet starts with karate. But I was looking up on, what was I looking up? Newspaper, I think, Herald and Post. And anyway, they still got that there, Herald and Post.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it is. Herald and Post.
They're not promoting no proper things from Luton, but they're still rocking.
So there was an advert in Hightown Rec. It's not there anymore. It's flats now, where Hightown Rec is. Yeah. Do you know where Hightown Rec? Okay. So Old Bedford Road, as you get towards the train station, before you turn left to the train station, there's a block of flats.
Oh, I know where that is.
So that used to be an old sports centre. And there was a couple of huts at the back. There was Luton Irish and East West. So I went there based on the advert, spoke to my mum and dad about it. They weren't too keen on the idea because obviously I'm their son. I'm, look after your son. So anyway, I went there and just, I started hanging around men. Like men, and I used to be called Little Dave when I went there because it was the first place I've ever been into where I actually felt safe. Yeah, right. They took care of me. They looked after me. They even gave me a nickname, and it's mad, because the very fact that they gave me a nickname told me they cared. So sometimes some of the students I might give them a nickname and they get upset.
No, that's you. That's you. That's the
that's
how you get branded.
Yeah. So if I give you, anyone out there, if I give you a nickname, it means I care. It means I like you. So don't be offended if I give you a nickname. But that's what that was. And also as well, like the reason I say it felt like home, felt safe was because, my mum had some issues when I was a kid. She'd had a child before me and my brother that didn't go to plan. It was quite a messy situation. She got involved in prenatal. If it had 3 letters on it, she had it. Started drinking heavily. Was on a lot of medication. It was very eggshell. I felt like I was walking on eggshells. I internalized a lot of trouble at my household and I didn't feel safe, basically. So going into East West Gym, I felt safe. It was the first time ever. There was Roy Lewis, Boza, Gaffer, Neil Benjamin, Carl Elliott, Mark Elliott, Dave West and Art Wilkes and his sons. Mate, it was a phenomenal time. Best times of my life, man.
Felt like home.
Yeah, man. And we used to batter each other, left, right and centre. And that was all it was. It was good fun. For some mad reason, there's nothing better than getting punched in the face because it makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
Paying bills, being appropriate, being an adult, being responsible, I find really boring. But if you punch me in the face, I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm human. I can feel. This is great.
You're present.
Yeah, that's it. Present. 100%. Yeah. I don't feel present when I'm doing my responsibilities, sometimes. So yeah, that was my first experience. And from then on, they just got me fighting and I just grew with the guys. They took me around the house. We trained weights in their garages. We went running up Wooddown Park a lot. And then we started fighting. And yeah, man, it was the only thing in my life that it kind of built who I am today. It's the very first steps of why am I the way I am today. That's the foundation. I owe it to Art Wilkes and Dave West and all the guys at East West. So if any of the guys you listen, man, I always love you, man. Always in my heart. Never forget.
What was you training there?
So it started off as kickboxing.
Okay.
And then after a little while, Art went to Thailand and started learning Thai boxing. He come back and it started to be Thai boxing. It was a little bit more disciplined, a bit more spiritual. There was a lot more respect. There was a lot more code. There was a lot more conduct. When we were doing kickboxing, everyone turned up, dropped the bag, put your gloves on, off we go, bang, bang, bang. But when Art went to Thailand, he come back, then we started bowing, and we understand like the movement and then, you know, the respect aspect of it. And that was nice. And, you know, someone of my characteristics, I need a bit of structure. So it was quite nice. I struggled with it at first because I don't like change that much. But
what's the difference? Is kickboxing more fast paced?
Yeah, kickboxing is a Western version of like, it's just kicking and punching, moving. It's a bit like boxing with kicks on the end, a bit more flash. Thai boxing is a bit more about power and timing and IQ, really. It is my understanding. There might be people. Yeah. It's different. It's the same as like karate bods. If they ever fight kickbox, you can see the difference in energy, the way they move, their movement. It was all a bit different. Very similar, but different still. Yeah, that was my first kind of concept of it.
And obviously, being at Northwest, you actually lost your coach. When you were going through that. So obviously now you spoke about obviously the family aspect, it feeling like home for you. What was it actually like for you going through that?
Do you know what? This is where the plot thickens, yeah? But I'm going to try and be as honest as I can about it.
You can just go into whatever you wanted. If you don't want to say anything, don't.
When I was 14, 15, I got banned from the gym because I turned to hard drugs. Drugs had become a thing. Like I said, my upbringing, I never felt safe, never felt like I fitted in and all this other kind of stuff. I used drugs quite a bit. I started off on cannabis, LSD, party drugs, and then it got into the heavier stuff. So when I was just starting that off, I'd be, you know, nicking wallets from the gym and all that, and I kind of got banned from the gym for that. Like I was like, "Listen, don't come back, I'll kill you." And I'm like, "Nah, cool, man, I'll walk." Do you know what I mean? And then later on, it got worse. So yeah, it was like that was what it was like. So when I found out. When I was in the midst of massive addiction, about 26, 27, I found out Art had died, and I was actually offered to go to the funeral, but I couldn't go because I just felt like I'm sure he wouldn't want to see me like this. Do you know what I mean? So.
But at least you have the good memories of him, and he remembers you before when like the
my children know what he looks like.
Yeah. How did you overcome your addiction?
For me personally, I always thought there was a mantra in Luton, yeah. Once a junkie, always a junkie. You're never going to change. You're always going to be a piece of shit. And that was the mantra of my life from young. Like, so when I talk about the bullying, yeah, I used to go home after being bullied and I'd feel different. Like, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't James get bullied? Why doesn't so-and-so get bullied? Why are they bullying me? What's wrong with me? So I internalised all of that. What's wrong with me? I've got a problem. So then parents was exactly the same. I've got a problem. It must be my fault. So I internalised all the stuff, and then eventually, when drugs come about, it freed me from all that. It was freedom from all that. Like I said, obviously, as an addict, it progressed to cannabis, to a bit of this, to a bit of that. So then it was like full bore. You're in hell now. It's just, yeah.
How did you actually get out of the addiction?
So I was on a methadone script for about 15 years. Going down to certain clinics in Luton Town Centre, and it was like, "Oh, have you used today? No. Why are you lying? What's going on?" Having just bollocks conversation, because the reality of it was, man, all I could think of as an addict in my head when I was using was just, when am I going to get my next fix? The only time I wanted to engage with a professional was when you're paying me some money or you're giving me my methadone script. Yeah. Until then, like people say to me, like, and when I tell people to be on drugs, yeah, and they say, "Oh, didn't you work? You know, didn't you get?" Listen. Being a junkie is a full-time job. If you ain't gouged out, you're on the hunt. If you ain't hunting, you're hitting. And that's a full-time job. I was knackered. And the reason I got clean was because I went to somewhere in Luton and they offered me rehab. And I thought it was a joke at first. I thought rehabs is somewhere like rich people go to and I can't afford it. Why would somebody want to invest in me, man? I'm going to die a junkie, man. Why would you want to pay that for me? I'm not worth it. I didn't have any self-worth at the time. And I thought, fuck it, I've got nothing else. I tried to get clean. I tried to commit suicide on many occasions. Just couldn't do it. Until one day they said that I got rehab, and I thought, fuck it, I'm done. What else? Because if you don't put me in rehab, I'm gonna jump off a bridge. I've had enough. You know, when you're spiritually that dead,
you at rock bottom.
You either get, 100%. And you know what? Everyone says rock bottom's a bad thing, but in my experience, rock bottom, after that, there's nowhere else to go. The only way after rock bottom is up. And if someone give me a handout to say rehab, I'm like, I'm in, I'm all in. And that was it. But they offered it to me in Stroud, man. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go anyway. I don't really care. And then when I got to rehab, they were like, listen, if you want to stay clean and you want a new way of life, change everything. That's friends, that's places, that's people, that's money, that's mindset, that's perspective. That's so many changes going on. But the thing was, I was desperate anyway. So whatever you told me I was going to do.
Yeah.
If someone had said to me, go and run up the hill 10 times. All right, cool. Do this, do that.
You were open to it.
Mate, 100%. There was nothing else. There was nothing else. So.
It sounds like you were like just mentally, emotionally like broken.
Yeah.
Like you were just broken.
I mean, when I was in rehab, it's mad, like, because of like my history, like I just said with the guys at East West and all that, we come from a mantra like, big men don't cry, you never show your feelings, everything's a mask. And when I was in rehab, the first 4 weeks, I wore that mask, angry. I was known as Angry Dave. Some people now are still in their phones as Angry Dave. Because anger was my mask.
Yeah.
I will never show you how vulnerable I am or upset I am. I will give you anger first. And hopefully, you won't touch me because I'm too angry. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I wore mask. I wore anger as a mask for a long time. And then when people started talking in groups about some stuff that happened to them, and I was like, wow, me too. Shit, I'm not alone in this. Like, oh my God, there's other people like that that's been through some same stuff. Because the whole time I was in it, I never believed. I thought it was all my fault. I thought I was the only one. No one understands me. No one gets me. I'm really different. And then when I heard people start being honest and talking about their stories and whatnot, I was like, oh my God. And then after that week, the next month in rehab, I spent fucking every group crying my eyes out.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
It's like a light bulb moment.
Yeah, I was about to say it was embarrassing. That's my ego talking.
Man.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
So, and I learned to give myself permission to cry. Because what I've learned about crying is, and I know like a lot of people watch the Andrew Tate stuff these days, innit? And they're like, masculinity, men don't cry. And I'll tell you what.
We all do cry.
Yeah,
and
mate,
a masculine man will cry, but they might not just show it to you.
Yeah,
Everyone cries, man. Everyone, that's...
Yeah, 100%.
That's the bad stigma about things, though. Like, everyone's got their own way of life. So you, like you said, you need to do what's right for you.
Yeah.
If this works for you, you need to do that to keep yourself.
100%.
Not what a next man says, oh, men don't cry. But
because everyone's different at the end of the day.
Yeah. But I think the best thing that rehab taught me was, it taught me about myself, it taught me about thoughts and feelings, it taught me about emotions. Everything that I'd stuffed down for most of my life, I got to think, fucking hell, there was an explosion at first, but then I got to contain it, I got to learn about it, I got to heal some stuff, with support, obviously. And it was like, cool, so if I need to grab a cry, I'm going to. Sometimes when George is fighting, I get really overwhelmed and emotional because George is my boy and I have to pop off just quickly. If you have a minute?
Yeah.
And then I'll be back out. And I give permission to myself for that.
Yeah, you figured out, like your whole journey, you figured out a way and what works for you. To say, like, this is how and you understand yourself, which is the most important thing with everyone. As long as you understand yourself and you know it works for you, then that's all you can ask for.
But I think as well, when I'm coaching certain people and new people come into my...
domain.
Yes, come into my sort of area, it's like... My intent of my heart, and my nature for people is to see the best. I want for people what I've had for myself, which is support, understanding, love, compassion, and kind. However, I have these masks. I don't trust many people. So if you're new, I need to throw a few things at you to see if I can trust you, to see if I'm safe with you. Now, some people might think Dave's just arrogant, he might be inappropriate, or he might be aggressive. A lot of people say to me, like, you're really unapproachable, or you look angry, or you look pissed off. And I can't change that. I'm comfortable with that. Because originally, it's like I started to get a complex. Again, like, what's wrong with me? What's going on? Why are people saying that? I'm like, what? And I'm like, do you know what? So when people understand my history, where I come from, and all the junky stories that go on, I'm not going to glorify my sins. However, a lot went on. So sometimes you might see me contemplating. You might see me in a zone where I'm trying to work something out. And it might come across in my face. Or sometimes I wear my trauma as wounds. So a lot of the time I'm walking around in my stuff, thinking about stuff, just wounded. And people perceive that as unapproachable, rude, he's this, he's that. But it's not. Like I said, people like George, Rob, Mark, they all get me, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No one dare take the pee out of me in case. But like them not take the piss out of me all the time. And it's what I need. Because I don't want to never take myself too seriously.
Yeah.
Never.
But they've earned the respect to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
you have to earn the respect to do something like that. You can't just go and take the piss. We were speaking about it on the way up here, funny enough, about certain people like that. And you can't just go take the piss out of everyone. You have to be with that guy or know that guy and earn that guy's respect.
Yeah, play with them a little bit. See if you can trust them. See if they're cool.
Yeah.
And see if they can hold it down if you're ever in trouble. And that's like something I've learned now. Like, not everyone that comes into I know, like, as a coach, productive, positive, help people, but I've got history, I've got trauma, and sometimes if I get a bad vibe off someone, my walls go up. Yeah? Like, some people say I'm unapproachable. Well, you need to keep coming so I can see where you're at. Because if I feel a way about somebody, I'm not going to give you the best of me. You're going to get that, hold on, whoa, what's going on here? Not aggressive, but just firm. I might give you a stern face. Okay. See you tomorrow. Yeah? Right.
What are you actually like now? Obviously, you've gone through quite a hard past and a hard background, and you've earned the right to say sort of like this was hard and I've overcome it. What is it like for you now, seeing like the next generation sort of come up and some of the things that I'm not saying anyone's pain's not pain, but some of the things they're dealing with, which is like it's not that bad, and they're making out like mental health and all of this, or they'll play on the mental health and stuff like this. Like, what's your thoughts and opinions on that with someone who's actively dealt with it and seen it firsthand?
I'll tell you a story, right? There's this one guy, he's a fighter. I'm not going to name names again because I don't want to be disrespectful. But, so this is where social media and these labels of mental health, blah, blah, blah. I've had mental health. I've been, the pits of hell I've been within myself, yeah? And there's one guy talking about depression. He's got depression. He's in a hospital with depression. But you know what? He's managed to get his missus to take 3 pictures of him laying in hospital, posting it online. Oh, I've got mental health. And everyone's like, and it pisses me off. Do you know why? Because anyone that's in that way, for real, don't even want to pick up the phone. You're not interested in the phone. You're not interested in mate. You just want to hopefully get through it. You know what I mean? Like, you're hoping you don't take your life or overdose or... Yeah, these people are... Yeah, it gets my back up, man. Because when you've been there and done it, you understand it's no joke, man. Yeah. It's no joke. Like, when Andrew... You know, I'm going to mention Andrew Tate. He said you don't believe in depression. I'm glad you don't, but I'm telling you it's real. And for me, depression is when your spirit has been debunked, derailed, battered, pushed, pressed, and you can't free it, then the mentality of your mind can't function. Like, for me, if I'm spiritually topped up, I get creative, I start moving, I'm funny, But if I'm under pressure, under stress, and I've got a lot of stuff going, my spirit starts to die, I haven't trained for 2 or 3 days, I'm feeling rigid, then all of a sudden, I don't want to get out of bed. I can't have a productive conversation with people because I've got nothing to give. Does that make sense?
Yeah, building blocks building. You can't escape.
So I'm very aware that depression is real, and, you know, if you're not looking after yourself spiritually, then... You know, it can be a nightmare for me anyway. I talk myself. I mean, I joined Islam about 8-7 months ago because of that reason. You know, I do NA fellowship, and they always talk about prayer and meditation in step 11. And I'm like, I don't know about prayer, you know, meditation. This is what happens to me when I meditate. So I get on my knees, trying to be all Gandhi like, and then my brain will go, "What are you doing? What are you on knees for? Don't be a bitch. Get up. If people see you, they're going to think you're a dick. Come on, we're doing. Fucking hell." This is the dialogue in my head.
So
I jump off my
upbringing.
I'm like, oh my God, you ain't shit, we doing. You're not special, get off your knees. I get all this mad dialogue Dave, I call it. So then when I started looking at Islam, there's a guy on social media called Johnny Bang Riley. And he's had trauma, he's got a story similar to mine. He's into movement, he's into training. You know, it really inspires me, man. So he started mentioning stuff about, you know, Allah and God and Islam. I thought, let me look into that. So I started, because I'm from Luton. Yeah. It's the most bizarrest thing in the world for me to be from Luton, have the history I have with Luton and all the Asian community, to then 20 years later look at Islam. It's like, how bizarre is that? So anyway, I started looking into it, and a lot of the stuff that it was saying resonated with me. I've done the old church thing before. That's mad, yeah. Like, when I go to church here, it's a big building. It's cold. It's grey. There's gorgles everywhere.
It's scary.
I'm telling you, man. I've got a lot of Christian friends, and that's my experience. I'm not knocking it. You know, I love you guys still, but yeah, that's my experience. And when my grandma used to take me to church, man, I'm like, "Grandma, you're a legend. Why are we here? Why are you bringing this?" You know. So when I went into when I started looking at Islam and understanding the religion, because I've got my own preconceived ideas of what it was. And I've said to some of my friends, "Oh, join Islam. What, you want to be a terrorist?" No. Have a look, find out. So anything that resonates with me, I'm going to invest. So I did that.
I feel like that's you on your path of soul searching, though.
Yeah, 100%.
You're trying to find what's right for you. But a lot of people, they don't understand things, but they're quick to judge things.
Oh, mate.
No, we don't understand nothing.
Yeah. And I'm like, I can be like that as well. Yeah, I was like that. So, but they said the prayer and meditation thing, like they pray 5 times a day. I'm not that deep in the game yet. I'm still learning. So at the moment, I'm learning about the religion and the culture. There's a big difference in the culture. You know, I'm a Western English kid from the suburbs, sort of thing. So like my culture is ham, egg and chips. Cups of tea in the morning, blah blah blah. But then, you know, I'm looking into the religious side of it, and I'm praying about 2 or 3 times a day if I can. It just helps me clear my mind. And if I've made a mistake, I don't beat myself up. I just ask Allah to forgive my sins.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's mad when you tell people these stories about yourself and they think they'll always say, "Oh, you're amazing." Hold on. Thanks for the comment. I appreciate it. However, I've got trauma. I've got unresolved wounds. I've got unresolved issues.
You're still healing.
I've still got bad ideas. I've still got bad mentality. I've still got bad manners. Do you know what I mean? So if you catch me on a bad day, you're not going to think I'm such a legend.
Yeah.
So I try not to have so many bad days.
Yeah, but that's because
I feel like that's you beating yourself up at the same time as well.
You're human as well.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
human.
I think we forget that we're human sometimes, and we're primal, and we've not. You think 200 years ago they were still chopping people's heads off?
I don't know.
So we're not that far. Like, I think we put ourselves on a pedestal at the minute because social media is so big, or because we're always we can just go on our phone and see what everyone else is doing. But
And like you said, this is the right way.
Yeah,
What's the right way?
We're still
right
early, man. We're not too far away from when people were beheading people or hanging people or bad shit was going on. So yeah, people. I think
It's sad to say, yeah. That's the reality of life.
It's
You know, I hate to admit it, but it's the reality of life. We've been trained from the dawn of time to be at war. It's just, you look at the history books, conquer everything, fight, conquer, fight.
Well, you look now. What gets the most attention? A fight.
Mate, 100%.
Like
what changes things? A fight.
Yeah.
So,
Why are divvy YouTubers getting paid more than normal boxers for boxing? Can't even fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is where we're at in society, you know. So it's kind of mad.
and then obviously you started with Storm Gym as well.
I started at East West actually.
No. I mean you after that. So we've gone on. Obviously, you are overcoming your drug addiction, and then you found Storm Gym.
Yeah.
How far out of addiction and stuff was you? And what was your transition like into Storm Gym?
So when we was in groups, there's a gym down the road, Fitness Mill. I was still training actually, and there was a punch bag there, and I used movement to get rid of anger. I'd whack a bag and be all right afterwards. So, and I still do that to this very day. Sometimes there might be something that's, you know, really locked my mind in. I'm in my feelings about something and I'm locked off. So I hit a bag, have trained, call George, can we hit pads? Yeah, great. Then that same problem, I look at it again from a different view because the energy's gone. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so I've unblocked myself, and I said, let me call him about that. So when I went back to Luton, obviously Art had died, Dave had died, and a lot of people had dispersed, and I didn't really know many people. So there was Roy Lewis and Jerry Jackson, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're back in Luton, man. Come see." I said, "Yeah, what's happened to East West?" I said, "Oh, it's dead. It's Storm Gym now. Everyone works at Storm Gym." I said, "I've never heard of Storm Gym." So I remember went down there to meet Amir. And Amir, like, it's just, you know, look him down, gloves on. Like, oh shit. Like, a scary guy, man. Similar to me, actually. So anyway, the first time I went to Storm Gym, Jerry Moore was there, you know, Andrew Tate was there, his brother Tristan, Nigel, Dale, all the top guys was there. And it was like sparring, and I was like, okay, I've been in rehab and I'm not that great. This was about a year after being clean. And anyway, yeah, it was just, you know, you're in the trenches, man. Every session was a trench session. And Amir just wanted to test your character. I think, you know, Amir tested my character on so many levels, man. And it's funny, you know, not many people know this. So everyone's like, Andrew Tate's one of the most famous guys on the planet. Apparently he's the most Googled guy, on the planet, right? I don't know how true that is, but that's what
I think it is true.
Is that true? Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone says to me, where'd you get your nickname from? The Bull. They call me the Bull, innit? And it's Amir that gave me the nickname. Because when I was sparring with Andrew Tate, man, he was picking me off left, right, and centre. I was just like, mate, I'm sick to death of this cunt. And I never knew who he was. I didn't know he was for times. Well, I didn't know who he was. It was just some guy in a green belt and a gi. I thought, wank, I'm gonna kick his ass. Do you know what I mean? Next thing you know, he's picking me off left, right, and beating me up left, right, and in the end, I just bit down my gumshoe and said, "Fuck it, I just lost
Steaming.
Steaming. I didn't do too bad, and then Amir started laughing. Everyone starts laughing. I'm really upset and emotional because you know what I mean. And Amir turns around and says, "Look! He turned into the bull. Willmot, he's the bull." And everyone kind of laughed. I was upset. Everyone's joking and bantering, and that was it. The nickname stuck. The Bull.
The Bull.
Dave the Bull.
It's a great nickname to have, though, isn't it?
So at 11 years old at East West, I was Little Dave. 20 years later, I got clean. Went to Storm Gym, and now I'm the Bull. It's mad. When you think of it, it's quite funny.
It's a full circle moment.
Yeah. But you know, me and Amir was chalk and cheese. But it's mad because I loved them to bits. Still do. In fact, I've got children now, yeah. And every time I go back to Luton, I always go and see Amir. My children have met Amir. The mother of my children's met Amir, and my new girlfriend's met Amir. Because every time I go back to Luton, I pay the respect. He's a legend. And we had arguments about stuff, and you know, we used to sit in his office. Amir never trained me how to fight, man. He just trained me how to be a man. He just trained me never to quit. He just trained me how to be a champion. I won 4 titles under Amir. He never done a PT for me once. But he would never let me fail. He gave you the mindset. Yeah, man. And it's kind of like way you look at Andrew Tate now and I think, yeah, if you spent years under Amir, you're going to get that. Do you know what I mean? You know, you can't be a wimp. You can't be a pussy. If you do something, you do as you're told. If you don't do as you're told, I'm going to hurt you. And I was like, okay, cool.
Very real.
Mate, I needed it. For someone of my history and story, I needed someone to turn around and say to you, if you don't do this, you're getting this. And I remember sometime, man, standing there training and he'd be talking, he'd be walking around with his blue bit of rope. What? Fuck. And because it's Amir, you never argue.
Yeah.
Too scared. Scared, I'd say. Yeah,
did he held fear into people a little bit? Like he was
Amir just commanded respect. Nah, do you know what? If you actually talk to Amir properly, he's soft as shit. But he's similar to me. He's got this, you know, he was in the Bosnian Wars. He's got some war. Mate, if you listen to some of his war stories, fucking hell, bro.
He's seen life.
Mate, some of his war stories, just like, I've sat in the office talking to him just in tears, like, bro, I feel you, man. And then we talk about some of my stuff and talk about some of his stuff. And like, my first title, I was like, Amir, I can't do it, man. No, everyone thinks I'm shit. I ain't good enough. Willmot, shut up. You've been through the addiction. You did this and you can't fight. Get in there, Willmot. Shut up. All right, cool. Won my first title because he believed in me.
Yeah.
He shouted at me enough. All my insecurities, all my issues, he overshouted it. So I had to believe it because there was nothing else to believe apart from Amir. He would shout at me to get it done and I did it 4 times over with Amir. So yeah, man, I love that guy, man. I love that guy.
That is mad, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if you look back, when looking back at your journey, like you said, you've been through the hardest of hards. You've been rock bottom. Like anything's achievable. Yeah. You've done it.
Yeah.
Do you ever look back at your journey and just say, do you ever like think about it and just think like, wow, like where you're at today?
Yeah. So with embracing the Islamic faith, you know. When I pray, I don't pray, I want to win the lottery, I want this. I just say, you know what, God, thanks for keeping me clean. Thanks for my beautiful children. Thank you for getting me out of hell. If there's anything I can do in your name, let me know. And that just means, how do I help other people? You know, like, there was, I'm not blowing me on trumpet, but one of the guys was saying, I said, you're going to come to the show Sunday, bro? He's been coming a little while. He's like, bro, I'm really skint. I can't afford it. I said, do you want to come? Yeah, but I'm really bad. I said, don't worry about it. Gary, come here. They called him out. Gary, can he come on my guest list? Can I have a guest list, guys? Because this guy's got the money. He really wants to come to the show. And Gary looks at me and I said, bruv, please. Okay, cool. So that's charitable. So Islam's taught me about charity, to be charitable.
You're a good guy, man.
And also as well, for like, I'm not going to go into the stories, but there's a lot of stuff in my past that I could still need to make amends for. So if I can help someone on that kind of path, to give someone something for free without worrying about it, then that's me and my karma table. That's me and God being all right.
Yeah.
You know, when I joined Islam, they said, you know, all your sins are forgiven. But I need to feel that. So sometimes everyone thinks I'm this hard bastard, I talk shit, and I'm loud and aggressive. But, you know, don't judge me on what I say, judge me on what I do. And that's, you know, as a dad, helping students, you know, people have said to me, David, you know, when COVID was happening, a lot of people were saying to me, I've got mental health problems, man. I'm fucking going to kill someone. I'm going to get... COVID was bad, man. People I know died because they couldn't handle the lockdowns. They relapsed and overdid it and they drunk themselves to death, suicides also. So when people were saying to me about, you know, Dad, I want to train, but I'm like, come on, let's train. I'll train you for free, bro. You don't owe me nothing. It helps me help somebody else. So if I'm feeling good about myself and helping somebody, it's good for me. Yeah. If I'm sat at home alone in lockdown, I'm a nightmare. It's like going through my head alone for too long. It's like walking through Baghdad without a gun.
Yeah.
It's swear down. It's a nightmare. So I need as an addict and my history, I need connection.
Yeah.
And I give that to people. People don't see. This is why the podcast for me was so important, because people never see that from me. They just see me standing there with a frown look. Yeah. They just see me there shouting at students.
Yeah, but this is what we love about this, like shining lights on people that you never thought was possible. You get to see a little bit in depth into someone.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like I'm a kind-hearted guy, but sometimes I wear my trauma on my sleeve. Sometimes I wear my feelings on my sleeve. And if I'm in my feelings, my go-to's. Yeah,
like you got your front up.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't want to. Yeah.
And again, so joining Islam was helping me to drop the guard.
Yeah.
Because it's about peace, it's about forgiveness, and it's about love. It's about surrendering to God, and that's all I need. The rest of the politics and the culture I don't really care about, but that's the reason I did it.
That's brilliant. That message is like, bad man. That one hit me. I'm not gonna lie. That one hit me. And then obviously you're a father now. You got kids. You're living in Bristol. You're coaching.
Yeah.
So what is the transition for you been like in life? Like, how important have your kids been for you?
Mate, I need my kids more than they need me, mate. I tell you, I don't know, man. I got the most precious gift ever in my daughter. My son's the same, but my daughter was my first, and I know you shouldn't have favourites, yeah. So I'm not saying you shouldn't have favourites, but this is what my son and my daughter's like. So I knock on the door, and my son goes, "Mommy, Daddy," yeah. So I knock on the door again. My daughter comes pelting down the hallway. You can hear her running. Daddy, Daddy. So of course, I haven't got favourites, but
no, based on love.
Yeah, she gives me so much love. And sometimes I can come home. I work in the addiction field now as well. It's a full-time job, so I do hear a lot of stories, and I'm very familiar with certain stories, and I get a lot of reminders of things that I might have forgotten about. And I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about that. I did that too, shit. So then sometimes seeing my daughter just makes me. I just feel like the world can be cold, and sometimes when I'm feeling like the world's cold, I can turn cold. And every time I see my kids, the love comes back. The rainbow turns up. It's my kids.
That's brilliant, man. That's what you're dropping gems.
You're inspiring, man.
Yeah, it is. Your whole story, like your whole journey, like everything, like inspiration. That's why people need to hear this. There's probably people at home suffering, or people at home that might listen to your stories and go, "Shit, I can relate with that." Like I needed to hear that. Like to know that they're doing all right and that they're all right.
It's imagine I've had this problem.
I need to hear it. Like, it makes us better people. Like with the guy Jerry we had on before. Again, it's a story. It's stories that you'd never like stories you get to share with us. Yeah. Like,
but it's imagine sometimes like if I really contemplate on my daughter, and I really talk about it, it brings up an emotion. Everyone's like, "Wow, is there some kind of unhealed wound that you've got about your daughter or your childhood that brings up an emotion?" I'm like, listen. When my daughter was born, yeah, she was the most perfect, innocent little being ever. And I thought, wow, man, God's given me this gift. I need to honour this. Yeah. So when I talk about it on that level of things, and you look at my daughter and see what she's like, the energy, the playfulness, the smile, she's the closest thing you're going to get to perfect.
Yeah.
And I can't put that into words. The best thing I can say about my daughter, how much I love her, is an emotion. Because the emotion is the most powerful thing. You can't argue with an emotion.
No.
Yeah.
It's there all the time. And I think that's what
that's real.
That's
it's
power.
It can control you. Yeah. It's something that can move you. Yeah.
My daughter's very small. My son is as well. But again, like he sees Daddy and George hitting pads, and when he meets me, he kicks me in the ball, slaps me in the face.
Yeah. He's a boy's boy.
Boys is tough, sort of tough love.
But I feel like fathers are like that with a daughter. A lot of people say you need to have a daughter. You need everyone's sort of against it when they think of kids. They're like, no, I want a son, man. Like play football, like fight, like do all this. But people like you don't understand. There's not a love like having a daughter.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, my son's love it's a different kind of love. Like, you know what? And if my new missus is watching this, she's probably going to kill me after. But you know what? I still love the mother of my children. Yeah, and we've been through some wars together. I'm not going to go into the full story of that. That was very difficult. Yeah. Do you know what's funny, if you kick me in the leg, punch me in the nose, break my face, you've got 10 seconds and I'm coming back. Yeah? If you break my heart, I'm on the deck for years. It took me 4 years to sort of pick myself out of that spiritual sickness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but then again, I look at my daughter and look at my son and I think, do you know what? She is 50% of that. It's not just me. That's her as well. She's a good, kind, loving human being. But you know, she's got her story as well. I've got my story as well. So you put two people's stories together that don't understand the story, you're going to change the book.
Yeah.
And the book change for us was new partners, new friendships, new relationships. And it was very difficult for me because family value. Like I don't teach the guys here, but I say to the guys here, like I said to you earlier on, we banter with Gary, we take the piss out of him. But if he rang me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd be there. Any one of the guys you see in this gym today, if they rang me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, they don't need help, I'm coming. Where are you? What's happening? That's it. Family. So important. Values, family values. And you know what? The funny thing about it is, I was talking to my mum the other day as well, and she was like, when we die, son, I'm like, what do you mean die? Mum and dads don't die. They're my mum and dad. Oh shit, they're getting old. That's a reality now. Oh my God, yeah. You'll have the house, and if you have to put me into a home, I was like, put you in a home? What do you mean? So with the Islamic faith, they teach about family, the importance of family, the family value. I was like, Mum, you'll never go into a care home. I would sell your house, buy our own, give you a side house, and we would look after you. Don't ever think that you're going to go into a care home alone after all you've done for me and my brother and my dad. No way. And all this, you still need healing. You still need love. In fact, out of all the family members in my home, she needs love the most. So why would I put her into a care home where some dipsticks get, no offense, someone's getting £12 an hour to not care about an old woman they don't even know? I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. And because of the faith, they kind of go with that. And I'm like, yeah, do you know what? My mum's a pain in the ass and she does my head in. She gets a 2-hour window of my time because there's still some wounds that ain't healed yet. But I would do that in honor of my family because that's where I put my values.
Yeah. Islam seems like it's grown you, completely grown you as like a person.
I feel like was you like this beforehand anyway though?
I never knew what I was like because I was getting beaten up or I was high.
Yeah.
This is all new to me. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely. It's definitely helped me, man. It's definitely, you know, the value system of what it's teaching. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm about the religion, not the culture. Yeah, if you look at Asian communities, their culture is different to what mine's going to be. But I'm going to put the principles of religion.
Yeah, but that's fine, man. Like we can all. There's good things about all religion, I think, man.
Yeah, 100%.
It's what applies to you and what you feel.
Yeah.
And obviously back to the training aspect as well. Obviously you trained with Philip too.
Yes.
What was that sort of like for you? What was that experience like? Obviously, he's a top level trainer.
I'm going to tell my story. I loved Phil. Awesome guy, man. He's so inspiring, so technical, so skillful. In my opinion, he made Muay Thai cool. All the guys down at Team 2, I still talk to him now on social media, and I rang Michael Pham the other day, actually had a conversation with him. And I spent 6 years with them down there. They're a big business. Phil's a big business. Yeah. So he made a lot of business deals going on, bits and bobs. But I was there long enough to earn my inner circle spot. So when we went out for lunch together, we trained together. But after a little while, like my expectations of Phil was really high. I wanted him to look after me. I wanted him to make me feel safe. I wanted him to do a lot for me. But then it felt like you're just treating me like a business. Yeah, like these guys when they fight, and I train them, I never ask them for any money. No, we are in this together. I'm training you, we're training together, we're a team. I'm never going to ask you for any money. If they do pay me, obviously, because I've had to learn to surrender to that as well, because I just think you put a lot of time in, people deserve to get paid. I didn't understand that concept. And I just felt like Phil treated me like a pound note, and it put me off, made me sour. I got very toxic. My thinking went skew-whiff. My feelings went really resentful, and I ended up just walking away from it, which is, on my part, it's bad because Phil's always Phil. Phil hasn't changed since. He's always going to be a legend. He's always going to be skillful. He's a shrewd businessman, very successful, and I admire him, and he still inspires me to this very day. But personally, for me, that's where I went with it. Yeah. That was my own personal demons attacking me for the situation I was in at Team Chew. So I've had to heal that as well. So, yeah, I still see Phil every now and again. We still say, hi, how you doing? Bits and bobs. Yeah. How did you get involved with Combat Warriors? And how have you ended up down in Bristol/Gloucestershire? So, obviously, I'm from living Stonehouse. It's between Stroud and Gloucester. There was no one else. When I come back from London, there was no one else doing Thai boxing to that level. So my friend Lee Badman, he owned Combat Warriors, which was downstairs originally. And I said to him, bro, I need to train. Can we train? He's like, yeah, come up. So I come up, spent some time with Lee, done some pad work. He said, why don't you take over the classes? I was like, Bristol's a bit far, blah, blah, blah. So I did it anyway. And then he got me, because when I come back from London, I didn't have much money. And I was gonna have my first child. I needed some dough, bro. So he got me some door work, give me a door badge, give me some work, give me the gym, and he really helped me progress financially and become something. And then the rest is history. I just stuck with it. I've seen so many people come and go. Like I said, the people you see there are the people that have been there from the jump. They're the most loyal. They get my best of my time because of the loyalty aspects. But yeah, it's just where it's been. And like I said, I don't see Lee that much, man. But he's always in my heart because he helped me so much. You never forget people that help you. Never, man. There's about 5 people in my life that I can name now that I would never forget, and my children will know because of the way they helped me when I needed it most. That's so important, I think. And yeah, the rest is history. I'm still here.
What's coaching like for you? Do you get a release? Obviously, I know you had I think it was your last. Was it your last fight in May?
Yeah, probably.
It was in May, but is that your last one?
If my missus is watching this, yeah, bro.
When the cameras are on, no, we're gearing up.
You know what it is? So it's mad, yeah, because I'm 45, right? So I picked this back up at 30. When I got clean at 30, I picked this back up. And like I said, I went to Storm, and no disrespect to me, Amir didn't teach me nothing apart from mentality. He built up my spirit. My spirit was fucking fragile, and he built me up to be a champion. Yeah, Team Chu taught me techniques and taught me Thai boxing, how cool it was and the movement of it. Dean James, however, has got real intricate, real knowledgeable, the intricacies, the real in-depth level of Thai boxing. Yeah. So I've had a few fights with Dean. My first one, I won. The second one, I got stopped in the first round by a real tall guy. Dean wasn't in there I'm not going to talk about that. It's not my business, but he had some personal problems going on. He couldn't be there. And then I fought again with Dean about 2 months ago, and I won the first round again. And Dean's always said to me, because me being me, right, this is how my brain works. You're old, everyone says you're too old, everyone says to quit, you're this, you're that, you're stiff, you're getting old now, you're
both. You don't look old, man.
No, you don't.
But I feel it sometimes. But like Dean will turn around and say to me, yo, Bull, do you know what, yeah? Your punching's good, your accuracy's good, you don't throw much, but when you do throw, you hit. You see people out there doing 5 rounds, I only give you 3 because you can hit, you know when to hit and how to hit. That's all you need, that's what you're good at. Do you're capable. He said, I've never known anyone that's got so much passion and drive as you. And you do look young, and I still feel young. And there's also an aspect of me, like, so when you do drugs and bits and bobs, when I got clean at 30, I still feel like a 12-year-old. Yeah, so when people say to me, Dave, you need to grow up, I'm like, I'm trying, man. I know I'm 45 and I should be a responsible adult, but I'm still trying to grow up because drugs dropped all my levels. Do you know what I mean? So Dean's like, yeah, you should do it again. And again, like, if Dean said to me, Dave, I want you to fight this guy, I believe in you, I'll be like, cool. That's it. Because my relationship with Dean, what we talk about, how he treats me, how I treat him. Like, I used to rate Dean for Thai boxing, but now Dean will ring me up and say, yo, Paul, this guy, and I'll talk to him on a level, and he's like, all right, cool, I'm glad I called you, Paul. Because I put Dean on the pedestal. I got this thing about putting people on pedestals. So now Dean's like a great coach, he's a great guy, he really looks after me, and he really believes in me. So if he ring me up next week and said, yo, Paul, got a fight for you in December at so-and-so, so-and-so, I say, Dean, do you think I can do it? Of course. Right, let's go.
You got that relationship.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. 100%.
That's brilliant, man. That is brilliant. We got obviously 2 final questions.
Yep.
Is there anything we ain't touched on that you want to say?
I think we touched on everything
that you wanted to know. Is there anything that we ain't asked you that you like, any stories you want to tell or anything like that you want to kind of?
Nah, I hope I've done your podcast on honour because, sometimes when I talk, I just talk freely.
It's an honour for us.
Yeah, it's an honour for us to sit with you. Like I said, when Roberto told us about you, like, what he must have come on maybe over a year ago. And he said, like, this guy is someone you want to get on, is someone, and obviously at the time, obviously being in Bristol with her, we've kind of just like tried to make it. He wasn't sure if you would come on, to be fair. He was like, I'm not sure if he really likes doing them and stuff, but I'll kind of get it in. So to actually have you on is like an honour, and like, legend in Luton. Yeah. Especially a legend in Luton to people who are involved in the fight community.
Yeah, you're well,
like the Kieran Boyces.
Yeah.
Nicola Bark spoke highly of you when she come on. Dale Hardiman. Like, these are and it's funny you touch on mentality as well. Like, Amir builds mentality, because everyone who went to that gym at that time are mentality monsters.
You know, it is. Yeah, it's actually funny you say
like
that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so it's
He's a special guy,
man.
He touches people.
Yeah, mate.
It shows he's got.
But it's not for everyone.
I feel like that way of learning.
It's not for everyone.
with him now, people would probably frown upon it because
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we live in a society there where people are being psychologically trained to be offended.
Yeah.
And you know what? Amir offended me. He pissed me off. He did whatever. But you know what? There was a level of respect that I would never challenge him. Like, I never questioned Phil Chew. I never questioned Dean James. I never questioned Art Wilkes or Dave West. And I certainly never questioned Amir. And I've got that as that. That is how a coach should be. Because I'll tell you now, if you're going to go to war with me or for me and you'll question me, that ain't going to work. When I say left kick, you throw that shit. Yeah? You're going to put your trust in me. You need to do as you're told. I remember George the other week, every session, like, finished on 50 kicks left, 50 kicks right. And he's going, all right, George, 50-50. He's going, I've only had 700 calories. I said, bruv, you better call your nutritionist because I'm your fucking coach. If I want my 50, I want my 50. Do you know what I mean?
I love that, yeah. Real, gritty.
And it's funny because, I never really want to upset George. And Mark said the same, to be fair. But then Mark's like, he will go, fucking okay. And he'll do it. And they both smashed it. But the thing is, it's that mentality thing. So, like, if you're going to use 700 calories, no offense, George, if you're going to use 700 calories as an excuse not to perform, what are you going to do when you're tired in the ring and you need to perform? You're going to give up on yourself, or you're going to say, fuck it. I don't care what I've had, what I've took, what I haven't took, I'm on.
What did you say about the Tyson Fury story? About he was in the sauna with Klitschko.
He was training with Klitschko. So this is maybe a year or two before they fought. But he was in his camp training with him. And there was obviously like whispers and stuff that they might have a fight. So they were sitting in a sauna together. And Tyson Fury was in there, Klitschko was in there. Everyone started to filter out by like 20 minutes, filtering out. Fury was like, I was fucked, sweating. I did not want to be in there. But he looked across and he see Klitschko and he was like, Klitschko was still in there. 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes in the sauna. They're both fucked. And Klitschko ended up leaving. And Fury was like, when he walked out of that sauna, I knew I was going to beat him.
100%. Yeah, I get that. I don't know if I could have done that, but I did get that. Do you know what I mean? I did.
And Klitschko never.
It's that mentality.
Yeah.
Though, isn't it? It's like I will dig deeper than you will.
Yeah. And you know what, I say this to people around dating and social media. Like, we are designed nowadays, or being designed these days. If it don't work or it don't feel good, swipe. You get the next one. If that don't feel good, swipe. So if it's broken, nobody wants to stick around and fix it. Everybody just wants next.
New plaster.
Yeah. So it's the same sort of thing. So that kind of mentality, it's the same as when you're training, when you're at work, when you're in a relationship, whether when your kids. Mate, there's sometimes my kids do me head and I'm saying, I'm taking you down social services tomorrow. Or adoption clinic. You're doing me head and I can't cope. But the mindset, no, you never quit on your family. You never quit at training. You never quit in the ring. And you never quit on people.
But I feel like I love that quote where it's hard times create hard men and weak men create hard times.
Yeah, that's true. I believe that as well.
And I think we're in weak times. Like I said, we want to bandage up things. We want to go around the houses. Like, it's such a soft society now. Everything's soft. Like you said, social media. I don't think we could ever be accustomed to social media because we're not social media creatures. We're not robots. We are not robots. We're human.
Yeah, 100%.
And again, it's like nowadays being humans like
frowned upon. The
wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? You can't act yourself. You can't be a certain way. And then when, like you said, if you're on social media and like, you have to put up this persona. A lot of people have to put up this persona. It's like you can't even be real no more.
And I think that's why we love combat and speaking to people within combat, because they're the rawest people. They're the last warriors left on earth.
My favourite people. I've always said this, yeah. I've worked at Fight Factory in Gloucester under John Pittman. I've worked at Top Team in Gloucester. I've worked downstairs with Lee Badman at Bristol. I work here. I've done things at Team Chew. And I tell you now, yeah, when I walk into a gym, I'm home.
You know, it's the funny thing you say that. I joined a jiu-jitsu gym a couple of months ago, and it's like I went there once, and I was like, you know what? All these years I've been searching. I've been searching for something, and I found a home. I found a place where I go to gym, and everyone gives it 100%. Everyone's there to pick each other up, and I'm like, this is me, and I've been missing. Missing who I actually was. I've been this person that I probably weren't, and now that I found a gym, I'm like, I'm home, and I'm staying home.
That's what I mean. Like with the guys, with these guys, I can cry here, I can shout here, I can scream here, I can put and piss myself here. I'm still gonna get loved. I'm still allowed to be me. It's the only place on the planet is my experience.
It's family.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you've created family.
100%.
Are you a big UFC fan or anything like that? Do you watch a lot of fighting?
Nah, I'm a purist. So I've got them kind of characteristics. You're either in it 110% or you're out of it 110%.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground for me.
Yeah.
But I used to work for Paul Sutherland at Trojan, doing some of the MMA stuff, and I used to watch them doing their jiu-jitsu and their wrestling, and there's a lot of stuff in there I'd like to learn, But Thai box, as a Thai boxer, I'm never going to know it all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So because I've got kids and jobs and bits and bobs, I'm always going to be learning Thai boxing. It's my thing.
Yeah.
But I'm very aware of the other skill sets of other martial arts. So it's not like people got this thing about Dave hating other sports. But the reality is, I do understand that there's a skill and it takes a lot of dedication and discipline. But for me, I'd love to learn it.
It's because you love this and you're involved in this and you've come so far in this. You're probably like, you know how long it takes to dabble into other things. You're like, am I wasting time dabbling in this when I can just carry on concentrating, making myself the best Muay Thai fighter?
It's like I watch some wrestling stuff and I love the wrestling stuff, man. I see some of the jiu-jitsu stuff. I think, oh mate, if I had more time,
you could do.
I'd have a go.
I feel like we would.
If I could have more time, but for me, it's like if you're good at something, keep going with that.
Because you've not mastered that.
No, I'm never going to master this.
Yeah.
That's why people say to me like, "Oh, Paul, how come you still have PTs with Dean?" Because I don't know it all yet. And that's the beauty of it. The minute I think I know it all is the minute I lose face and off. Never see me again.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's it. And with martial arts and stuff like this, everyone brings their own perspective and art. Everyone's got a different style.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you said, you're die learning.
And that's why, one of them, I've never really said this to George, but one of the reasons why I'm so grateful to have George in my life is because he's young, and he's very diplomatic and he's very mental savvy. So I could never run a business because the minute you bring maths, numbers into my passion, you've lost me. I'm gone. You killed my passion with this shit. So George will take care of the gym and I'll take care of the training.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
You work together.
Yeah, man, 100%.
That's brilliant, man. Obviously, to the final two questions, we ask everyone this. When it's all said and done and it's all over for you, how does Dave the Bull Willmot want to be remembered?
How would I want to be remembered? I just feel like, so when I'm dead and gone, hopefully in heaven, I believe I will be. When someone mentions Dave Willmot, they'll say, yeah, he helped me. Oh yeah, I hope they smile. When they hear my name, they smile, And I hope they remember me as being a good dad, being helpful, being supportive. Yeah, and when my name gets mentioned in any conversation when I'm dead, I hope it's in a positive fashion, not a negative one. I know I'm not perfect and I'm a sinner, but hopefully that will be it.
That's beautiful, man. That's why I love asking that question, because every single person has a different answer and a different perspective on it. And the final question of the pod: your most euphoric moment in life so far.
Fucking, I've had a few.
Tell your truth, man. If you got more, say more. We just say your most, because some people only have one.
So there's two. I'm going to give you two, if that's all right.
That's brilliant.
I remember my daughter being born, and she had a water birth, and I remember her popping out of her mum. And she held a bit, so it was my turn. They told me to take my shirt off, and they give me this baby covered in this clay type material, whatever it is. I can't remember the name. I remember holding this baby in my arms thinking, oh my God, it's come out of my balls. How the hell did this happen? This is magic. I'm not a magician, but this is magic. Fucking, what am I going to do with this? And then I was going, but I'm retarded. I've got issues. I've got this. How am I? And then, I went, and I took her to the window and I held her and I said a prayer. Just said a prayer about my daughter. Because it was a gift. A proper gift that didn't come with any labels, it didn't come with any circumstances, it didn't come with any contracts, nothing. The purest gift ever, and that's probably the realest prayer, honest prayer I've ever said. Thank you. I swear to God, I'll do best by this little angel. That was that.
That's power.
And then the next one was winning the Intercontinental title with Amir.
Yeah.
And I remember I should have I got battered in this fight, man. So it's funny, because Andrew Tate feels like he don't cry, don't get emotional, yeah? He does. Because when I won that title fight, he got emotional with me. Not many people know that. Sorry, Andrew. You can sue me if you want. But, yeah, because I was at a point in my recovery where my issues were very relevant. You know, I was living in some of my issues from the past. Amir was shouting at me and screaming at me, Willmot, and all the rest of it. It was a bit carnage going on. And you know what? My only goal in life at that point, the Intercontinental Championship belt, was to prove to the world and to myself that I wasn't a scumbag anymore. I wanted to prove it. So the fight itself was like a scene out of Rocky IV. I should have got stopped in the third, should have got stopped in the fourth, but I didn't. Round 5, I came out like an absolute lunatic. Not lunatic like, but like I put my heart on this thing. Everything in my life, every trauma, every bully, every prick, every copper, every junkie, every dealer. It was in round 5. I threw it at this geezer and I won. And the most bizarre thing about it was when they put my hand up, I wanted to go home. And Amir's going, Willmot, belt. I'm like, I want the fucking belt. I just want to go home, bro, please. Let me go home. He's like, no, Willmot, you've won the title. I said, I don't want the title. Amir, please let me go home. And he grabbed hold of me, man. There's a photo on my Facebook. He just grabbed hold of me. I'm crying. And then I thought, oh, shit, I better get the belt. And then I had to go and get the belt. And I picked up this big, massive belt. I was like, fuck, you know, how the hell? I remember sitting in the change room thinking, how the hell did I do that? How the hell did that happen? And that's why I say, like, God loves me. Because for me in my world, that's impossible. So God must love me. I'm still here. So God must love me. I've got evidence. My daughter and those times. And those people as well. So yeah. That's my 2 euphoric moments.
That's I think I'm going to say it here. I think that's my favourite podcast I've done.
Yeah, he's never said
I've never said it. I'll say it. That's my... And I listen, I appreciate you coming on. I
appreciate you.
I've absolutely loved it. And thank you for sharing all these moments and stuff with us.
Yeah, I'm getting emotional, bruv.
Yeah, but this is human. This is real. This is life.
And that's the perfect thing with podcasts sometimes. Like, you're getting everything off your chest. Even for us.
Yeah, it's like therapy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's therapy. It's therapy. You're just sitting here and just...
get to meet people that you'd never have a conversation with. And everyone gets to share. You're sharing your story. You're sharing your story with us. That's the beautiful thing. And hopefully everyone else who watches this, it can impact their lives.
Yeah.
Listen, we can learn off... Everyone can learn off everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's always got something to give.
But I think my experience is like, I never wanted to tell anyone anything about me because of the guilt and shame. But when you've kind of accepted who you are, what you've done, to tell your story is easy. Like, I know people that do talks and they make notes. I say, I'm going to say this, I'm making notes, man. Tell me what it is and I'll tell you the truth. If you're dealing with the truth, it's easy. It's when you're trying to do something, when you're trying to be something. That's when it's hard. Just be honest. This is what it is. Take it or like it.
That's brilliant, man. People, check out Willmot's photos. Go back and watch some of his old footage, man, of the ball in action, just going for it. Obviously, this is you might need another nickname now. I feel like you've morphed into like a new version of yourself.
So on Instagram, it's the Fatherhood Bull.
The Fatherhood Bull. Yeah. That's brilliant, man. And people, thank you for tuning into the Curious VG, and we hope you enjoyed the episode. Like, comment, subscribe, and go check Willmot out. And peace, people.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.